Okay. Okay. Take a moment to adjust things. Let's go ahead and play a bit of Frost to start this off, shall we? I remember the first time I tried this quest, I was kind of confused on what I was supposed to do here. I was like, huh? Poppy? Put out my Howling Blast right away. Sometimes you get a Scarlet Ghost, sometimes you'll actually get a Ghoul, so... I love the combination of some of these abilities, by the way. Especially when you pop both of these, and you're just, like, getting all this resource generation stacking for a period of, like, 20 seconds. Along with some other stuff you can be able to get. Man, it's really good.
I need a target.
I need a target.
I do.
I don't have a target. Sorry. I've made it clear before, I love dwarves. There we go, we finally got another ghoul. Alright, so I've got 2 ghouls at the moment. Ugh, the ghost. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. What I gotta be afraid of the ghost for? I'm guarded by the Lich King. Think about it. He commands the ghosts. But then again, this is Scarlet Ghost we're dealing with at the moment. Let's see, can I get this guy here? Yes! Oh. Work, work. More work.
I need a target.
Righto. Oh, come on. I just love the look of this Remorseless Winter. It's so much like the Lich King's ability that he uses. I just love the look of it, the visuals. So great. Until all that remains is an icy husk. You know that if I recall, I believe when Wrath first came out, Frost was actually the tank spec, and I've heard it was really good. And when you think about it, it could absolutely work. It could make sense. Frost utilizing slows, which is something that tanks quite often have in their kit. Not just in WoW, but in Heroes of the Storm. I mean, even the Lich King in Heroes of the Storm has, of course, as a tank, has slows. Which makes perfect sense when you think about it. Roto. Oh. Apparently I've created enough. Never mind. Come, ghouls. Let us return to Gothic. Here we go. So I love that Howling Blast has a 24-second duration of damage over time when you do that to help generate some, yeah, it costs a rune, but I believe it also generates some runic power as well. And of course, you know, you feed that into both Frost Strike and Obliterate. You pop both a Pillar of Frost and Empower Rune Weapon to get yourself some extra resource generation for a period of time. And then, of course, Remorseless Winter for AoE damage. It's a really fun DPS spec, I find. Not everyone's going to agree, I'm sure, but I really enjoy it. Back, you mindless wretch! Back to the pit!
Our master's will be done.
They now know that the mines are no longer safe. They will double their efforts in retreating, leaving their backs open to us. Only the Scarlet forces at New Avalon and Light's Point challenge us. The time to attack the Scarlet Fleet at Light's Point has come. The diversion at the mine has caused chaos amidst their ranks. They are frantically working to clear the area and return to their ships. The time is ripe. Prince Valinar is seizing this opportunity to finish off the Scarlet Fleet. Report to him at once.
There's work to be done.
Alright, so that was just a little fun little look. Let's go ahead and actually switch back to Blood. For now. I have found that there are times where having a minion can actually interfere with stuff when it comes to when it comes to how certain quests work. Sorry I didn't take care of this before. Oh yeah, that's right, I remember these. Remember going over these. Deal more damage more often. Each enemy hit by Blood Boil increases the damage and healing done by your next Death Strike by 8%. So if you're able to coordinate your rotation really well, that can come into play. But I actually like this the most of this tier. Striking all enemies in front of you with a hungering attack that deals physical damage, and it heals you for 100% of that damage. It's a 45-second cooldown. You just get straight up extra damage there. I like to kind of... let me fix this right here. There we go. I like to kind of have them right next to each other along with Blood Boil, so I can kind of like put, you know, right next to each other. Anyways. Why don't I have the yak here? I mean, look, I love that weapon look, but
I have just the thing.
I love the Arcanite Reaper, but still, hold on, we have to fix this. We gotta go with something a little bit more appropriate, a little bit more Death Knighty. Don't really have any pole arms right now that are very Death Knighty, or any maces. Really, the swords, and really, at the only one. Is this one right here, of course. The Rune Blade of Baron Rivendare. Of course.
Farewell, friend of the Grummel.
Much more appropriate. You have served us well, Death Knight. Few of your brethren have survived our initial attack upon the Scarlet Interlopers. You remain as one of the strongest. East of us, past the Havenshire mine, is the coast, called Light's Point by the Scarlet Crusade. 1,000 soldiers stand between us and their ships. Insurmountable? Hardly the point. In their haste, the Crusade will make one fatal error, forgetting to check the mine cars. You are to return to Havenshire Mine, east of here, and locate the mine car that my minions have planted near the outhouse. Climb inside the minecar, and a Scarlet Miner will unwittingly see to it that you are placed safely behind enemy lines. Once aboard one of their ships, use the cannons against them. Slaughter them all! Call the Scourge Griffin from the cannon when you are ready to return.
We are done.
I suppose we are. There's the mine car. You know what's funny? Look at this. You see how the minimap is set up here? There is no proper indication on the minimap. It just says go slay 100 defenders. So let me point this out. If you are someone who just accepts the quest and then just goes and does them, and you don't bother reading any of the quest text, you're not going to have any idea what you're supposed to do here. Because if you look at the map, you're just supposed to go over here and slaughter 100 enemies. It doesn't say on the minimap, jump into this cart here, and then use the cannon. So you have to make sure that you pay attention to the text in the quest, otherwise you're going to be completely clueless. This is what it was like for me the first time I was doing this. I was like, huh? Oh, where'd this come from? I better get this down to the ships before the foreman sees it. I know these are Scarlet Miners, but come on. They're basically the peasants from Warcraft 3. Righto. More work. Ready to work. I'm gonna have when Warcraft 3 Reforged eventually comes out, who knows? Gosh, I'm still so upset we haven't heard any updates about it at all. No release date, nothing. But when that does eventually come out and I play it, you're gonna hear me doing those voices quite often. Because how can you not? It's a real shame that Bill Roper became quite an egotistical jerk after doing all those games and those voices. But his legacy lives on in those voices, even though his current reputation is very, well, negative, I should say. But yeah, look at this gigantic force here. I'll just leave it here, nobody will be the wiser. Yeah, by the way, those are all elites. Every single enemy on this beach is an elite. So if you just walk down that pathway like I did the first time I did this, you're slaughtered. Like, you just have no chance. So that's when you have to actually read the text and figure out what it is you're supposed to do. Otherwise, you're just dead. And now we shall bombard them from behind. An EMP and a cannon. Boom, boom. At some point they have to be like, what's happening? Ah! We're being attacked! Turn around! We're being sneak attacked from behind! So then you have your EMP in case they actually get to you up that plank. Now, normally I'd be like, oh my gosh. But this is the Scarlet Crusade. It's like, yeah, I'm cool with this. I like how apparently there's another player right over there doing that on another ship. This is actually kind of cool design here. They have two separate ships here in case there's more than one player doing this quest. So that way you're not exactly taking up too many multiple slots there. And the fact that those enemies replenish incredibly fast actually helps out with people doing this quest. Of course, these days, you'll only see a few players running around here because, of course, a lot of people want to make a Death Knight because you start at 55 and it's, you know, one of the more interesting classes to play, not to mention how the starter zone works with, you know, leading up into Wrath, which is pretty nice. Especially also now. So, when this So think back to when Wrath came out. First off, when Wrath launched, I've heard stories that this starter zone was insanely full. Like, there were, like, thousands of players in this starter zone. Because, of course, everyone wanted to play a Death Knight when Wrath came out. And, you know, it was very relevant to what was going on in Wrath. But, of course, by the time you got out of the starter zone, usually you may be around 60. So, you would usually have to go to the Burning Crusade stuff. So you'd have to go to Outland, level up to 70, and then you could go do the Wrath stuff in Northrend. However, recently with BFA's launch, they changed the leveling of the zones. So you'll notice Outland is 58 to 80, like in Hellfire Peninsula. So once you hit 58, you could go there, or, and here's the other cool thing, so is the other zones in Northrend. Borean Tundra, Howling Fjord are 58 to 80. They made it where if you want, you can skip Outland altogether. And you can just focus on Northrend. Or you could do the opposite. You can either skip Northrend altogether and just stay in Outland and just do the questing in Outland. And I love that design there. That it gives you, because it used to be you had to do the mandatory flow. Back then, you had to go through the level required zones in Outland from 60 to 70, then you could go to Northrend. Because you just couldn't be able to handle it. Now they've changed it where you have more options. You can go, you know, flow in zones and do quests in zones that you want to, as opposed to what it used to be required. And I love that.
You need something?
The entire Scarlet Fleet wiped out in a matter of minutes. I will receive a commendation from the Lich King for this. All that remains of the Scarlet Crusade now are the denizens of New Avalon. I'll set the fire starters and necromancers upon Havenshire immediately. You will carry my report to the High Lord. Aha, plated Serenite bracers. Hands you a sealed scroll. This is the full report of our victory at Death's Breach. You are to deliver this to the High Lord Mograine inside Acheris. I have made sure to include your heroics in the report. Mograine will undoubtedly reward you greatly for this victory. Go now. And we'll get leg plates, which are not as good as what we have.
Our event.
Oh, I can't read it. Well, that's a shame. I'll go and equip that. And then, of course, as you do...
Lucky doos and loot.
Oh, okay, never
Good
mind.
fortune to all friends of the Grummels.
All friends of the Grummels. I just love every time I use that, I get to hear the Grummels. Oh, by the way, get used to how this looks. Especially that area down there, because it's about to change. It's gonna look quite different in just a bit. By the way, look how the dwarf runs in Acheris. Hop, 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 hop. I love that he's like, hop, 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 I'm running, I'm gonna run to you. I just love that. I just love that running motion. Thank you, Corrupted Ashbringer, for those whispers. I was certain that you wouldn't make it back here in one piece, Death Knight. Perhaps there is more to you than I first surmised. The entire Scarlet Fleet? Such power, Papaneeks. I have not seen such a display of domination in years, since my father wielded... It's not important. Yes, your commendation, lest I forget. Since his father wielded this right here when he was one of the four horsemen. Oh, Rivendare is gone. So yeah, once we turn in that quest, things change. A phase change happens here. You're going to notice it in just a bit. Like the name of this quest, The Will of the Lich King. It is the will of the Lich King that drives us onward. Papaneeks. None are more aware of this than Death Knights. Our very existence is intrinsically tied to his consciousness. Surely you have heard him speak to you, invading your thoughts. Can you hear him now? Perhaps it is too early for you. Yes, my lord, it will be done. I should have timed that differently. I should have timed it where I said that after the whispers. Just to add to that atmosphere. Papaneeks, you are to return to Death's Breach and report to Prince Valinor. The Lich King commands it.
Go forth and wreak havoc.
Let's see if the change has really gone through now. Yep. Definitely looks like it. Not only because I can see the buildings on fire, also the layout of this place is different, you'll notice. Gothic is gone. The Valkyr over here is gone. And Valinor is over here now. With the approaching darkness comes the end of the Scarlet Crusade. You will battle once more for the Scourge, for the Lich King. Suffer well, Death Knights! You'll notice... Yep. Gothic is down there now. Yeah, some of the people you'll see from Noxramas are just kind of like, alright, we've got this area to ourselves now. We've claimed this area. Valinor?
Make it quick.
Havenshire is ours. 1,000 corpses litter the ground, patiently waiting rebirth. We strike now at our enemy with the awakened strength of the Scourge. The ghouls have already begun their assault upon New Avalon. Our forces have moved in behind them and taken the Crypt of Remembrance. Leveled! Oh, there's my taunt. There we go. Now, oh, and I have Death's Grasp. Very nice. The attacks upon the gates. I like how it's saying, hey, guess what? A dungeon has unlocked for you. Because I'm 58 now, which means technically I can go to the BC stuff. And even Northrend stuff. But we'll worry about that once I'm done with the starter zone. The attacks upon the gates of the last Scarlet Bastion have begun. Our ghouls are wearing this Crusade's front lines down, while we labor to fortify our new forward base, the Crypt of Remembrance. Venture south to the crypt which borders New Avalon, and report to my dear brother, Prince Keleseth. He will be expecting you. Prepare yourself, Papaneeks, for you are about to witness the next stage of Scourge warfare. Domination.
Another time.
Walk away.
Get
Ride
on
now, Death
with
Knight.
it.
Have a new talent. Each charge of Bone Shield increases your maximum health. While you have at least 5 charges, the cost of Death Strike is reduced. Additionally, your maximum runic power is increased by 10. Consume up to 5 charges. You gain 6 runic power. I think, if I recall, these days I like using Foul Bulwark. But I also like Ossuary. I know some people like Tombstone, but it's just really not for me, because that requires, like, you gotta make sure you build up your stuff, then you gotta consume it, and it's like, ugh, okay. Like, I can be able to do my rotation decently, but not that well. Not that much. Alright. But yeah, you'll see now the adventure guide is still not available, though. But in the group finder, you can be able to actually... What's funny is that it showed, oh yeah, you can do specific dungeons, but then it doesn't let you see what dungeons are available. I just find that very hilarious, actually. But you'll see now we have quests available there. The crypt is all the way over here. By the way, you want to see the meat wagon? Yes, this is the meat wagon mount. Oh, and by the way, this is the, this is what happens if I press the jump button. Fire the meat! It's funny, but it's also a little gross, so... What other... Aha. In the name of the light. Hold on. News from the north. To High General Abendis, New Avalon, Scarlands. Hi, General Abendis. I hope that this letter finds you in good health. My name is Danzel Adams, hunter by trade, Scarlet Crusader by blood. I'm writing this letter to inform you that I have witnessed a miracle. During a routine purging of heathens in the scourge-infested Plaguewood, my party and I were interrupted by a deafening screech coming from the sky. While we looked to the heavens towards Nox Ramus, our jaws dropped to the floor. I tell you this now, High General, 'twas a sight not to be believed. The dread citadel was moving, slowly at first, and then with a thunderous roar, poof! It was gone. That's right, High General. Nox Ramus is gone. No more. Could it be anything other than a miracle of the light? I say not. May it be that the impure, unkept barbarians are judged and sentenced next. Praise be the light. Please let our brothers and sisters know of this miracle, High General. May the light preserve you for all eternity so that you may spread the good word until the end of days. Respectfully, D. Adams, the closer. So that is the little tidbit letting you know that Nox Ramus has left the Plaguelands, which is where it was in Vanilla, to Northrend, since Nox Ramus would be getting brought back for Northrend, both in lore as well as tuned in gameplay terms. So you'll see a lot of the necromancers are here now, just kind of walking about the town, basically raising all the people and civilians who were in this town now as members of the Scourge. As ghouls and plague hounds, yeah, you can see there's a whole bunch of them just kind of wandering around here, ready to be sent out as basically fodder. Oh, hey, look, it's Noth. You remember him, right? Noth the Plaguebringer from, Nox? Yep.
We press on.
It might look like an ordinary pumpkin patch now, but once the plague cauldron is placed, it will become a source of disease, rot, and plague. Noth, where's Helgen? That no-good kiss-up is probably practicing ballet in his chambers.
Leave me be.
Look at this pumpkin patch. Do you notice anything missing? Of course you don't, because you're a moron. Your brain was probably the first thing to die. I have been commanded to put together a plague cauldron. You will help me. Directly inside the gate of New Avalon is the inn. Enter the inn and steal an empty cauldron, and then go to the forge, also near the gate, and steal some iron chains. Bring those back to me along with 10 Crusader skulls. Do I need to tell you where to get those to?
There's work to be done.
I like how Noth is just like completely talking down to us, like we are, or rather that he thinks we are complete idiots. Well, here's the crypt with, of course, Crypt Guardians. Lovely place, isn't it? Oh, look at that! It's a gnome Death Knight. Oh, he's so cute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to bash on... Oh, here's Rivendare. This is where he showed up. I don't mean to make fun and joke and jest about Gnome Death Knights. Especially if you are someone who plays a Gnome Death Knight. I don't mean it as to insult or anything. I really don't. Oh. Wait, how did those get up? upgrade to level 62. Ah, well. Hi, Rivendare. Give me your mount. Please let me have that mount next time I go to the Stratholme dungeon, please. Crusaders. I'm convinced that they are a unique lot amongst the humans. My theory is that they lack higher brain function, unable to logically assess a situation and calculate an outcome. One is only to make mention of the light to get them frothing and battle-ready, at which point they'll rush headlong into any engagement with complete disregard for their own well-being. Hi, Keliseth.
Make it quick. My task is done.
Hail, Death Knight. I am the Blood Lord, Keliseth, ruler of the southeastern reaches of Northrend. The Lich King has sought to utilize my talents in ending this mortal affront to the Scourge. As with all things the Lich King asks of me, I am happy to oblige. Of course, a sea of endless souls to sate my thirst certainly sweetened the deal, don't you think? Nothing less than total annihilation will suffice, Papaneeks. To that end, a few hundred mindless ghouls assaulting the front gate of New Avalon will not do. We must infiltrate the inner sanctum and dispose of their officials. They must be shown that no one can escape the Scourge's grasp. Make your way to the New Avalon Town Hall, southeast of here, and assassinate the mayor. Search the building for the New Avalon Registry, and bring it to me.
We will have our revenge.
Remember, throughout this whole starter zone, the majority of the starter zone, we have no choice but to do these horrible things. Because we are still a mindless mini of the Scourge under the complete will of the Lich King without our souls attached to us. It's not until the very end of the starter zone that we get those back and we're able to actually be ourselves again. At this point, we have to do whatever is asked of us. So, I know some people that this starter zone was painful for them because of all the horrible things that we have to do throughout here. I mean, we've already gone and killed some of the civilians in this town, and now we're being asked to go assassinate the mayor and probably a number of the other civilians that are around the town hall. So, yeah. Well, I suppose we shall be off to go continue the will of the Lich King when we return. Stay tuned.